everyone, this is Dubey Shambhavi and today I am here to demonstrate the technique of CVS examination or cardiovascular examination. So for that, today my patient is Mr. Narendra. So before performing the CVS examination, I'll see for my patient's color, his rhythmic respiratory rate, and also for the levels of anxiety. So first of all, I'll see his nails. So can you show me your nails? So yeah, it's fine. Now can I see lips? Okay, so it's fine. So now we'll perform the test. So before that, I'll ask my patient to remove his shirt. So can you please? Firstly, I'm going to measure the jugular venous pressure, which is considered to be as the first step in cardiovascular examination, and it is a very important step. So before that, I'm going to tell a little bit anatomy about the key structures in our neck. So yeah. So with the help of the pen light, I'll show you a few key structures here. So here we can see this is the sternomastoid muscle along which the external jugular vein runs. Then there is a carotid artery and then is the internal jugular vein. So basically the external jugular vein, it runs along the sternomastoid muscle, whereas the carotid artery lies beneath the sternomastoid muscle, that is deep the sternomastoid muscle, and the internal jugular vein lies beneath the sternomastoid muscle and it is usually not visible. So yeah, so now we'll start with our first examination, that is jugular venous pressure. So basically this jugular venous pressure, it measures the point of maximal oscillation or the meniscus in the JVP, and it reflects the pressure in the right atrium, that is central venous pressure, and it also provides information about the cardiac function and the volume status of our patient. So this JVP is best assessed in the right internal jugular vein. So yeah, so firstly we'll palpate for the right internal jugular vein, and then we'll further proceed. So wait. So here somewhat near the lower part of his neck, between the angle of jaw and the clavicle, we'll palpate for the internal jugular vein pulsations. So yeah, I can feel it. And now with the help of this rectangular card and scale, we'll measure the JVP. So we'll place the edge of this rectangular card at the point of maximal oscillation, and this centimeter ruler over the sternal angle, and we'll measure the JVP. So here we palpate it for the oscillation point. Yeah, so here we'll place this rectangular card, and here is the sternal angle. So here we'll place the centimeter ruler, and this one edge of this card should be at the point of oscillation, and wait. So it should basically lie at 90 of my patient was about 2 centimeters, which is fine. So if it is more than 3 centimeters or more than 4 centimeters over the sternal angle and 9 centimeters from the right atrium, then it is considered as elevated or abnormal. And also make sure that while measuring the JVP, your patient should be in supine position, and the bed of the examining table should lie at a 30-degree position. So yeah, so now I'm going to assess for carotid pulse. So basically carotid pulse signifies valvular heart disease, or it detects aortic stenosis or aortic insufficiency. So we'll do this by palpating and auscultating. So basically by palpation we'll identify the amplitude and contour of the carotid pulse, and by auscultation we'll detect for any bruit which is a whooshing sound, which signifies atherosclerotic stenosis, so or narrowing. So firstly, we'll palpate by placing our middle and index finger onto the left and the right artery, but make sure that you are not going to palpate both the arteries, that is the left and the right artery, at the same time, because it may lead to syncope. So here I start with palpation. So now I'll place my index and middle finger at the lower third of the neck, press onto the inside the medial wall of the well relaxed sternomastoid muscle, and yeah, now I'll slowly increase the pressure to feel the maximal pulse. So yeah, I can feel it. Now for the other side. Yeah, now here also I'll slowly increase the pressure and slowly decrease the pressure to feel the arterial pressure wave and contour. So yeah, it's fine in my patient, and now we'll do the next examination, which is heart examination. So basically before that I'm going to tell you a little bit anatomy about the heart. So basically the heart is the anterior part of the anterior part of the heart is formed by the right ventricle, and the left ventricle forms the left border of the heart, which includes the apical pulse, which generates the apical pulse, and also the right atrium forms the right border of the heart, and the left atrium is a little bit posterior to the right atrium. Basically it includes inspection, palpation and auscultation. So firstly we'll inspect and palpate. So we'll firstly inspect the anterior chest for heaves and lifts, and now I'm going to palpate for heaves and lifts with my finger pads. So here at the right second interspace and the left second interspace, at the third, fourth and fifth. If there is any heave or heaves, then my fingers will lift a little bit, and which basically heaves indicate ventricular dilatation. Then I'll also palpate for thrills, which indicate turbulent blood flow. So for that I'll use my balls of my hand. So again I'll palpate in the same manner. So yeah, it's fine. Now the next thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to auscultate. So firstly I'm going to auscultate for the apical pulse, which is basically found in the left ventricle, and it is a brief tapping sound, and it is about 7 to 9 centimeters from the mid-sternal line, and it is roughly a quarter size, and it is about 1 to 2.5 centimeter in diameter. So yeah. So now I'm going to auscultate. So I'll begin with the right second interspace, which signifies the aortic area. Then the second left interspace, which signifies the pulmonic area. Yeah. So can you please breathe in and breathe out? Okay. So basically here we have to find the inspiratory split. So inspiratory split is basically the S2 divides into A2 and P2. So yeah, now the third place where I'm going to inspect is the third interspace. Now with the bell of the stethoscope, I'll auscultate for S3 and S4. So yeah, it's fine. So now I am going to auscultate for the apical impulse, which is at 5th intercostal space. So yeah, so basically apical impulse is at left ventricle, and it is a point of maximal impulse. If you hear any diffuse impulse, then it signifies ventricular dilatation, and if it is a sustained tapping impulse, then it signifies ventricular hypertrophy. So yeah, now the next examination which I am going to do is for heart murmurs. So basically heart murmur is due to turbulent blood flow, and it differs from the normal how it sounds by its timing, intensity, radiation, and many other factors. So basically the heart sound are distinguished into two, that is systolic heart sound, which is between S1 and S2, and then the diastolic one, which is from S2 to S1. So what we'll do, we'll perform two maneuvers for identifying diastolic murmur. So yeah, so the first one, what we are going to do, I'm going to ask my patient to turn to the left lateral decubitus position, and in this I'll auscultate, I'll inspect my patient left sternal border, and also the apical area for